Hey, well, I've got 5 things to share with you today that are some important truth bombs that you need to know that are going to help you feel so much less stressed this Christmas as a driven Christian woman. And I've got a bonus tip for you at the end that I don't want you to miss. That if you spend literally just 5 minutes doing this, I can almost guarantee you are going to enjoy Christmas so much more. So stick around for that so you can see what it is. Okay, so the first truth bomb that I want you to know is that every single thing you spend time on is time that you can't spend on something else. So consider the trade-offs wisely. If you are spending time at the mall obsessing over perfect gift, for example, that's time that you can be spending on more meaningful or Jesus-focused activities. So it's just simple math. Think about that. There's nothing wrong with spending tons and tons of time on some more secular Christmas thing, but that is less time for other things. Okay, second thing. If your efforts to create lovely, magical Christmas memories turn you into an ugly version of yourself, then hello, my friend, your efforts are counterproductive. So even if you have good motives, if you are taking on too much and then the ugly side of you comes out, that's no good for anyone else. And you're not going to be creating beautiful family memories, even if you make the gingerbread house and do all the things, if you are really stressed out while doing that. Truth bomb number 3, an invitation is just that. It's an invitation. It's not a mandate. So if you are invited to something in person or a Zoom get together or whatever, just because you could technically attend that thing, that does not mean you have to. You need to know your limits and you need to stick to them. So think about, how will saying yes to this thing affect you and your family, your loved ones, physically, financially, emotionally? If it's not going to affect you in a positive way, be cautious in saying yes, unless, of course, you decide that your presence would really, really be a huge blessing to the host or the guests, and you're willing to make that sacrifice. But I think in most cases, the host probably isn't going to, be completely devastated if you can't make it, or you can't make it for a really long time, for example. Okay, truth bomb number 4. This is a hard one for me. Not everything matters as much to the people you love as you think it does. So don't assume that they care more than they do. And as someone whose love language is acts of service, I had to really, really learn this lesson in my marriage, because I would do all these things for my husband thinking that I was a great wife, and he actually didn't care. So before you stress yourself out doing something for your family that's time consuming or that you don't enjoy, ask them if they really, really love that thing. Or maybe ask them, like, what are the things that are most important to our family when it comes to Christmas? And then do that stuff up really good. Do the things that you love, that you guys love to do those things well and enjoy those things, and then you can let go of the other stuff. Whatever it is. I don't even care if you decide not to put up a Christmas tree. Like, anything is fair game. All you have to do is worship Jesus, technically. Everything else is optional. So, all right, truth bomb number 5. The first Christmas was brutally simple. It was not perfect. It was the result of God giving up perfection to come down to earth and take on flesh. Like, that was not a fun Christmas for him. There were no cookies. Like, Mary gave birth in a barn. Yikes. And yet that was the most glorious, beautiful, amazing Christmas. So there is more space for God when we keep things simple. Leave space. It's okay. It's okay for things to be messy. Let that point you to Jesus. It's okay for things to be simple. Let that point you to Jesus. And my bonus tip, number 6, is here's what's going to, like I said, this is going to make a huge difference if you just take a few minutes to do this. Like, grab a piece of paper out of your recycling bin and just scratch it down, or make a note to talk to your spouse or your kids about this. But take a few moments to decide on a few key things that would make Christmas a success this year. What would a successful Christmas look like and feel like to you and your family? By doing this, 2 things happen. Number 1, you're going to give yourself clarity on what kind of action to take versus what not to spend your time on. So I'll give you one of my examples. Like, for me, when we get right into Christmas, like the few days right around Christmas when we're driving to our parents' homes and everything, something that would make Christmas a success for me in that time is actually remembering Jesus in the midst of wrangling my children and the presents and all the things. And so when I think about that, that gives me clarity. You know what? I'm going to make sure that I pack my Advent devotion book so that I can read that in the car, or I can just take a few minutes in the morning and just kind of center myself in whatever room I'm sleeping in at our parents' homes, and just kind of have that brief quiet time. So The second thing that occurs when you decide what success would look like for Christmas is that you create a fresh and a realistic measuring stick for yourself. So people don't even realize this, but if you don't define your Christmas expectations, you will probably unknowingly go into this Christmas carrying the same expectations you always do, which I bet even in a normal year probably don't happen because you don't even necessarily realize what your expectations are, but I can almost guarantee that they're too high, too perfect. And then when your expectations are higher than what actually happens, you feel disappointed. So if you readjust your expectations and you bring them down closer to how Christmas actually looks like, you are way, way, way more likely to feel joyful and grateful and content about how this Christmas goes. So that's all for today. If you're watching this on Facebook, would you please do me a favor and just hit share so that other go-getter Christian women can enjoy this message? And if you're watching this on YouTube, would you please hit that red subscribe button so that you don't miss more videos like this in the new year? And Merry Christmas.